Good afternoon again, and welcome back to the JBDC's Entrepreneur's Journey. I'm Kira Walters, and I'm your host of the program as usual. And this afternoon, I'm pleased to have with me another entrepreneur who is of Jamaican origin and an icon, I think, well in the making. And his name is Mr. Cecil Foster. He is the part of the founder of the company FosRich Group, who is now celebrating 25 years of operations. Good afternoon, Mr. Cecil Foster, and welcome.
Good afternoon, Kira Walters. Happy to be here and to be talking to you and whoever is listening.
Yes, good afternoon to everyone, and welcome to the space as usual. We go live on Facebook and on Instagram. And we just want to let you know as usual, you can shoot your comments in the chat, and we will, if you have questions as well, we will try to filter them in the conversation. So welcome, and let's just get right into it. So Mr. Foster, to begin by telling the viewers who are here with us, who are you? Tell us a little bit about you.
I'm a Jamaican. I'm a country guy. I'm from Clarendon, right there in Hayes. I went to Vere Technical High School. I played football, cricket, played jacks. I played everything you can think about. Right there from Hayes, Clarendon, which I'm truly proud of. And I have grown to become a Kingstonian over the years after leaving Clarendon, and I've been here for all of my, I would say, adult life. After 18 or so, I've been in Kingston, and I love fun. I'm a fun guy, and I'm also serious about the things that I do. I like to help people. I love to help people, really, and I am a Seventh-day Adventist, and what else? I'm just focused and hardworking. I think those are some of the things, and I love to give value to people, whoever they are, wherever they are. Once they come in contact with me, I want to offer them value, so when they leave, they can remember the encounter that they had with the guy called Cecil Foster. I like to watch sports, cricket and football, and that's just about me on the pleasure side. But on the work side, I'm very serious about work.
That's usually how it goes. Work hard and play hard.
I call it play hard, but some people say I don't play hard. I just watch the game, or just, you know, and it might not be an entire day of watching the game. It might just be an hour or two, because I'm always doing something while the game is going on. I don't know if you see, there's a TV in behind me, and the game is going on, but that's my love. I don't sit and watch it all the time. I just know it's there, and I feel like I have company.
You played any sports?
Yeah, I played cricket and football. I captained both of those teams when I was in primary school before I went to Vere. When I went to Vere, I decided to drop the sport. I mean, serious sports, because I had a conflict, because most of the games were played, or a lot of the games were played on weekends, and Saturday was one of those days. And I, from those times, decided that I wasn't gonna play on Saturday. That's just my belief system that I grew up with.
Okay, so you're gonna practice an Adventist. I'm getting a feedback. I don't know, I don't know if this is okay. That's better. I was getting a feedback before. Great. All right. So, I was gonna ask you if you were an Adventist. You were raised as an Adventist. Did you say that?
Yes.
You always kept those? Yeah. So you're accustomed. And anybody who is a customer of FosRich would know this, because I've shopped at FosRich, and it's on the weekend, but it's always on Sunday.
Thank you. Let me know when you're coming.
Yeah, man. I if you come into my house right now, you will see your products. You see your stuff in there.
I'm so thankful to you.
Yeah.
Yes, thankful.
So everybody who knows FosRich, if you're just seeing the man behind the company, and I don't know, there's a woman behind it, Marion, who is your wife and partner in business as well.
Yes, yes.
You said you started this company 20 odd years ago, almost 30 years ago. Tell us a little bit about how you actually got started, how FosRich got started.
It's a long journey, so I'm going to make sure I give you the high points as much as possible. It was when the financial crisis was ripe in Jamaica in 2003, 2004. I was then a salesperson at a company that sells electrical items and so on.
I think you meant 93.
93, sorry.
Yeah, man, 93. You said
93.
2000 is 93?
Oh. 93. And then I used to travel the route south and maybe north to sell goods and so on, to offer our products to the market. And customers were having it difficult. And the company also had it difficult in finding the US dollars and to also deal with the increasing in prices and the shortage of products on the market. And so my customers were just crying at me to find products for them, to help them to find products. And,
oh, sorry. I just wanted to establish why it is that in the middle of a financial crisis, that's when things were really getting bad in Jamaica. Why did you decide to start selling electrical fixtures and stuff? What were you doing before? What was so terrible about what you were doing before why you decided to go jump into entrepreneurship?
Well, I was a salesperson. I was selling electrical products. And so that's what my business was in terms of working for a company. Prior to that, I was at Cast. And I was working. I tell you, the story is I could go back from when the real beginning. When I came to Kingston, my friend brought me to Kingston for a job, and I went to this what do you call it now? This industrial mechanic company. They made bolts and they made parts for some those buses on the road and so on. And I was standing there for about 3-4 hours in the man's office, my friend and I, and he was just walking past us and telling us, he was talking to my friend, and he wasn't talking to me, he was telling him some things, and I just stood there, no job. But I learned years after, just about 10 years ago, that he told my friend that he didn't have a job anymore for me as an apprentice to come into his place. He didn't have a job. And so I didn't know I was standing there. Then he finally gave me a chance by calling somebody who was a supervisor, said, okay, here's a guy who's an apprentice, help him. And that's where it started. I got a job. And then after that, I saw a friend of mine years afterwards, I saw a friend of mine who was driving a car and he was looking like he was going somewhere. But in my mind, and I'm sorry to say this, but that was what was in my mind, he wasn't a smart guy. And so for him to be looking like he's succeeding, I said to him, where are you working? And he told me where he was working and what he was doing. And I asked them if they needed a job, a person to work for. I'm not a salesperson. And he told me about the company, and I contacted the company. The company didn't want anybody to work, didn't want any salesperson. I did not know anything about electrical items at that time, nothing. And so I went in. After a while, the guy called me, the manager called me for an interview, and I didn't know anything. I just knew a plug and a socket. That's all I knew. But I was very focused and determined, and I told him I needed a job because I was now going to Cast and I needed to do a job to help me through school. It was months after that, after calling and going back to the company, then he finally called me in and gave me the job. Then I realized what happened. That same friend who I saw, who I thought wasn't so smart, who was working at this company, who told me about this company, I actually took his job.
Wow.
He was one of those renegade guys, and apparently they gave him a car and so on, and he was just like a wild deer on the road most times. And he used to knock off the windscreen, break the doors, whatever it is, all kind of things. And finally, he had an accident like a month or two before, and his both legs were broken up and so on. And so they called me in and said,
"You got a job."
"I'm hired." That's it. I'm hired. I got the job. No, I got a job. I didn't even have a car. It was my friend's little VW Bug, old VW Bug, who we both bought like maybe a year before. And it was like we bought it for like maybe a couple $1,000s. It wasn't a good thing. And I just said, my friend, I am going to use this car. And I started using the Bug to go to work as a salesperson. And the story continues where one night I was going home and somebody hit me off the road and the Bug was damaged, broken up, no more car to drive to do my sales. And then I took the bus while trying to get the car repaired or get a new one. And then I got a car after that. I went and bought an old Escort from somebody, only to find out that months after the police stopped me because it was a big, sporting, loud, noisy car, right? So when I drive on the road, people used to hear the noise. And then police stopped me and said to me, look at the papers and said, this car was a stolen car.
What?
It was a stolen car. And he said, okay, I look at you and you are, look, to be honest, go and get rid of it.
Go and get rid of it.
Because somebody had stolen the car and obviously did some things on it and sold it to me. And I know how to get rid of the car. And I got rid of the car. And then I went to the bank, Scotia Bank in New Kingston. And I told him I wanted a loan to buy a car. And I did not qualify for a car loan. And I remember the lady very much. I never will forget her. She became my mother. Her name is Annie Smith. And I sat with her and she looked at me again and she said, you look like you're an honest young man. You don't qualify, but I'm gonna give you the loan. And I told her what I would do. I would go every day and work as hard as I can to make sure that I pay the monthly.
The car note.
Yes, and then before you know it, 2, 3, 4 months, I was always on time paying the loan. I just worked and worked and worked. And then after a while, when the crash came, my company was struggling. Then after a while, I realized that I was being asked by my suppliers or my customers to find goods for them. And I used to come here and try back into Kingston from the country and run to some other competitors to find goods and to take it to them. And I realized it wasn't going to be the best thing to do. And so I sat down with my present boss and said, look, I am being pulled away by the desire to find goods and so on for people. I don't want it to be a problem between us. So I would like to leave. And he was blown up because he said, you are going to leave at this time when there is no market out there? I said, I think if you do not put anybody on that route, I started to negotiate with him. Let that route remain. I will buy the goods from you and I will go and sell the goods. Simple as that. And he was saying that you have to pay me within 7 or 15 days. And I promised him. And then I used to get the goods from him at a wholesale price and go and sell to the market. And that's where it started.
Wow. What a story of self-determination, self-direction, and risk-taking.
Yeah. You see, I had nothing to lose. I just wanted to go and get the customers satisfied. And in doing so, it has brought us where we are. And so in telling the story, what happened, I used to go and buy the goods from him, go and sell it, and come back and pay him. And I keep doing that. And all I was interested in doing after that is to save and save and save and save. And so,
you had a goal in mind?
yes, we had a goal in mind that I would expand the business, but the business was not so well organized in terms of the structure wasn't there yet, because I just tried something.
And it was just you?
Just me. And then I realized now that I had to buy the goods sometimes and store them somewhere, because I don't have a place in Kingston to store them. And so Princeville Plaza, the back of Princeville Plaza, a lot of people do not know that behind there are some little shops underground, a little 10 by 10 spaces, underground. I rented one of those and stocked goods that I was buying or trusting. I was trusting these goods, right? From people. I was getting credit from him and putting them under those, in one of those areas. And then in doing so, I would stay home in my little, it was like 400 square feet, a little studio apartment off Reddings Road. And I would stay home and talk to the customers and get the orders. And then I would pick up the goods and go get the customers' goods supplied to them. And the challenge was even greater because a lot of these customers did not pay me on time. So I was now on a shoestring budget, because I had to pay my former boss for his goods, and these guys were not paying me fast enough, or sometimes they don't pay me because they know you're a startup, I think, and some of them use you. So the challenge was there, and I recognized by going to CAST, I recognized that, look, if you have a problem, there's a way of solving it. And one way I found to solve that problem was to sell to more people. So my work was even harder, because instead of selling to 10 people and then 5 don't pay me and then I get into trouble, I go to 20 or 30 people. And so I was really stretched. I went from Kingston in the morning, get to Negril. By 10 o'clock, I'm there in Negril. If I'm going to St. Thomas or Portland, I am there by 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning, delivering goods to people. So I was just traveling around Kingston, around the east, around the west, around the central. I was just traveling everywhere, delivering these goods.
How long did you keep this up before you realized that you had to change and create a structure for the expanding business that was happening?
Yes, you're right. I was going to CAST, and I was now getting formal education as to how to structure things. And I remember sitting in a class with one of our lecturers. I cannot forget his name. His name is Mr. Chibundu. And he was teaching us sales and marketing. And I sat there, and maybe I looked so pleasant that at the end of the lecture, in the lecture theater, a lady who I never knew before just came over and said to me, I want to be a part of your group. I said, okay, want to be a part of my group? Because she saw me in the class smiling and just enjoying the class. So she wanted to be a part of my group. And we became great friends after that, you know, and begin to understand how to structure business, how to do a business plan, and so on. And so that was what we were doing. I started doing after a while, and formalized the business. And so going all over Jamaica, I never stopped. But I needed to find somewhere to have a presence where people would come to buy the goods, not only for me to deliver to people out in the country, because it was so hard and difficult. I wanted to have a retail outlet. And so that's when I came to Mullines Road. In fact, I went to Eagle Commercial Bank and asked for a loan. And they gave me a loan, and I got the place here at 79 Mullines Road. But that was another journey. People, Jamaicans, you are listening to me today. That was another journey. I came to this place. I don't know if you want to hear it, but I'm going to tell you. I came to this place as a young 20-something man, and it was occupied. I saw it being up for sale, and I wanted to buy it. And the person who was living in this house was a policeman. And he gave me what you call hell.
Oh my.
After we bought the house, the old house, he just didn't want to come out. So he was there for a year. And he took me also to the rent board, to court. For a year, I used to go to FosRich every single month because the case was called up. And he sometimes wouldn't turn up and all kind of things. And I yes, I did not get to occupy the place until a year after. So that was a strain on what I was doing. But it's now I realize it was a strain because I didn't see it as a strain then.
What did you see it as?
Just life. I was just going through it without complaining, you know, just going through it.
Okay. So when you acquired that space, it was to have a retail outlet. At what year did you start operating from Malines Road?
We started 3-4 years later.
Okay.
So it was maybe about 1996 or 97. Yeah,
Okay.
we started operating here. In fact, it was just, you have no money. The income was not there. You had to know, this is where I employed 2 persons to help me. And that's where I start the story most times, where 2 persons came to help me. One was to pack the boxes, and the other one was to help to clean up and so on. And that's where we started here at Malines Road. And this journey, gentle people who want to be entrepreneur, it still was a hard journey because people were not coming into the little cubicle that I had there as a store, because I went and painted the building blue and white. And I've learned long after that they thought it was a police headquarters.
That's interesting.
You know, they thought this was a police headquarters, you know. And again, I didn't have the full range of the products. And so when customers come, they couldn't get all of what they wanted at this location. And so they went into FosRich and they were sometimes not happy with me and all of that. And so, and then they just were not happy a lot of times. But I never gave up.
So you started off as selling electrical supplies.
Yes.
So this is not necessary. This is more selling to like workmen and other businesses and so on. When did you shift into lighting? And now we have 3-4 version, well, 3 stable segments and another burgeoning one, because you're now this FosRich group of companies. I didn't say this at the beginning, but you are since then moved from this 2-man, 3-man operation from you to 3, and now we are a group of companies listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange and having FosRich Electricals and Lighting Energy, FosRich Energy, FosRich Industrial, and coming up with PVC, which is a whole different segment of the electrical market now. Tell me how it is that transition happened. Give us a little bit of a synopsis about that.
Well, I tell you, Kira, if I am accurate at this, it means therefore that I am God. I don't know. One morning I got up and all of a sudden I see where we are. It is true. It's a true story. I just kept working and planning and executing. And one day I just got up and I realized that there we were. It's almost like I was so focused that I did not realize what was happening. I realized the company now was making revenues $400, $500, $600 million. I just did not recognize. We decided that we wanted to import and to be a distributor. So first of all, we were distributing buying from my old boss. Then we decided that we're gonna go and do a store where the tradesmen can come in and get their goods. Then now we wanted to import so we can now compete at a higher level with distributing the products in the market of Jamaica and so on. And that's where we started to importing the products because the business was now well organized, much more organized, has a business plan and a 5-year plan and so on.
I don't know it's who you're trying to trick, but you don't reach where you reach by buck up. It takes some serious planning, it takes some serious foresight and some discipline. You have mentioned that you had been, it's almost as if you have expanded along the value chain of your business, because it's retail. You started out as, then you started to distribute. Right? And now you are manufacturing. Isn't that so?
I think yes.
You're manufacturing, and exporting is on the charts next. Is that right?
Right. One of the things that we have done over the last 5 years is to look at the pillars on which we want to build going forward for the next 30 years.
Okay, so that's some strategic planning. Mm-hmm.
Right. We had consultants working with us and driving the vision plan with us for the last 7 years and so on, in helping us to get to a point where we could open our books to the Jamaican people to become public. And we've looked at many things. It was something else. I tell you, I don't know if starting was hard, but this part of it is also hard and difficult because you come from a one-man band kind of thing and you're changing now into a corporation, and that is a whole different ball game. And so we looked at the fact that we were trading, importing and distributing, and also wholesaling. We wanted to be a little bit more solid. We want more roots in the ground, and we thought of looking at a line of products. And we thought of the PDC line of products, which nobody was doing in Jamaica. And we said, okay, manufacturing, based on the fact that the cost of fuel, was coming down to a particular reasonable level, we could now move off into manufacturing. And so that's when almost 2 years ago, we started the PVC manufacturing company in Jamaica, which manufactures 6 days a week, 24 hours a day. So we are very, very happy that we have started that. But the lighting part of our business, we saw where our products that we sell go into construction, and people were asking us for fans and for lighting and so on. And so about 10 years ago, we started the Lighting World, which offers lights like what you have in your home, Kira, and other people. So beautiful decorative lights. And a lot of people now start knowing us as the lighting company, but we really are more than just a lighting company. We have also looked to be strategic in the industrial part of the electrical business. We have decided that we're going to be looking for partners, but partners look for us in this case, like Philips Lighting. They looked for us. They came to Jamaica and they were looking for a partner in Jamaica, and they came to us and other people, and they chose us. And so 4 or 5 years ago, we did the Savannah Park lighting project with Philips as the big brother, so to speak. All the engineering work was done by local contractors, but the design and the commissioning and the big brother kind of holding our hands, that was done by Philips. We have also looked at working with Siemens. Siemens is one of the largest control and industrial electrical product manufacturers in the world, and we are their partners in Jamaica. So we strategically look to develop these brands and these product lines in order to get the industrial part of electrical trade, because all of these high-rise buildings or these factories, they need the products that these guys make. And so we are partners with GE, Philips, we are partners with Siemens and Nexans. Nexans have some of the greatest fire-resistant cables you can find in the world, and we are pretty happy to be partnering with them. In fact, the partnership for Philips and the Siemens, they're so strong that we have ambassadors, people who these guys pay to be on our team right now, engineers on our team who are ambassadors for the Philips and the Siemens line of products that we carry here in Jamaica. But we wanted to become not just a importer, we wanted to become a manufacturer and also an exporter. And so we are presently one of the 50 companies in this segment block of time working with the JAMPRO in order to see how we can export these products into the Caribbean and other places. So that's where we are. In all of that mix also, we wanted strategically to find financing, because I don't think you asked about financing yet. It was the toughest thing, and it still is the toughest thing. So we decided that we were going to operate for the last 10 years a particular way. And in doing so, it will help us to go to the market if we wanted to. And 2.5 years ago, we went to the junior market, and it was really an unbelievable take-up, where the offer was closed before it was open, so to speak. And
I have to cut you. I have to cut you. I don't know if anybody heard or if you said it too quickly, but you said 10 years ago is when you made the decision, or you started preparing for this stage of, or the stage that you actually got into, where you are a publicly listed trading company.
right,
10
right.
years. Take your 10 years to prepare for it, to make the decision. I want people to be, to just process that success doesn't come overnight. And it takes a deliberate effort. You have just told us about your story of starting at micro stage, and you are a Jamaican-born man who, I just want people to realize that you can do this. You can get up and make a decision. And if you stick with it, you are intelligent about looking at your environment, because even though you may not have narrated all of that for us so far, you obviously were paying attention to what was going on around you, looking at what the customers were saying to you, what their demands, and it's intelligent. That is the intelligence that you're pulling down, and it is informed your decisions as you grew. And that's why the growth seems so organic, because you did not try to make it up. You are basically responding to the demand and to what the environment was telling you, and that you scaled. You move from micro to small, and as you put in the formal structures in there, as in you took in the learning, the formal learning that you took from the degree and so on, and you put in the proper, started to plan and so on, it started to take shape. I want you to tell us, if you can, in a nutshell, how it is that the preparation phase for you, what it looked like for the company. I'm imagining from 3 persons, and you may have grown and had maybe a few persons on staff before 10 years ago. But at 10 years ago, how many persons do you think you would have had on staff then? And did you have like proper systems and accounting and that kind of thing to help?
Very good question. Yes, after the first 10 years or say 8 to 10 years, we were very much proper in our accounting processes.
Yes.
But 10 years ago, based on the fact that we wanted to give me a chance to do something that would make this company, so to speak, blow up and become real substance out there, I started focusing more seriously on making sure that our accounting was in place. And also our team members became more important. The people who come on board became more important to me. And because we're looking at long-term to build out a strategy, not only for myself, but for others who are going to be joining the team, who are who have now become solid members of our team, and we're looking forward to grow and go forward with them. Yes, we knew that to go on the stock exchange, you'll have to have at least 5 years of proper record. And so we wanted to make sure that we are proper in our activities, so we would have these records available to the stock exchange. And you have to also perform. And so over the last, we might not have grown, 100% each year, but over the last 10 years, we have grown every year except one. One year we really flattened, we really were kind of broke even, but every year it might be 5%, and some years it's 40%, and some years it's 30%, but we were always growing because one of our team members, and two, the market that you mentioned earlier on, and trying to understand the market and to fill the demand that the market was bringing to the table. We are not afraid to open up to others. I like when bright, smart people are on my team and when they are in the room, because I love to listen to them, and we have had some of them. Some might have come in as consultants, and some might have come in and then move on to higher things. But we always strive to get the best people on our team and listen.
Okay. So a
while ago, I don't know, but
you heard it?
I don't know if I answered your question a while ago.
Oh yes, man, definitely. And we're going back to the financing thing that you mentioned earlier. I am trying to create a sort of a little extracting some points for our audience as it relates to why we insist that they do some of the things that they do. Even in today's day and age, we still have a struggle getting persons to understand the importance of those things, of just keeping your proper records, of ensuring that you pay attention to the team. As in a network, how do you look at the particular needs that your entity needs in order for it to really have a chance to grow and expand and scale. And even if you're not there yet, but just start having the mindset towards it, such that it has that kind of organic feel that you are describing. It's because you are of a mindset that was anticipating and preparing for it, that allowed for it to come together because you're intentionally trying to organize those things. So where financing is concerned now, did you, after the, because you mentioned the car, you went and you got the car notes, even though you weren't qualified at the time. I'm assuming that there would be some other time in the business's existence that you would need to have access financing.
Oh my goodness, yes. Oh,
and and the preparation for that would have also driven you to make sure that you would have had your books, your finances in order, because they do ask for those things, right?
Perfect. You can't do business without a proper accounting system, and so when we were like 15 years ago, when we decided that we're going to go into the LED and the energy market, and we brought a 450-page business plan. Wow. All research, all whatever it is, my consultant worked with me and get that out. And when we brought the bank in, the bank looked at us and said, no, they are thinking that we should only go ahead and take a overdraft when we need it and so on. The bank just did not believe in it.
After you have your 450-page business plan?
Yep. Plan. I mean, we did the research on the industry. I mean, we did every single thing, all the forecasting, all whatever it is. It was I've never seen such, we call it now, such detailed.
Yes. I can only imagine.
And I walked away from the meeting, and I just said to the consultant then, we are going to talk to a Jamaican bank. I'm sorry, that bank is not a Jamaican bank. I said, we're going to talk to a Jamaican bank. Mm-hmm. And we went to Jamaican Bank, First Global, mm-hmm. and we sat down with them, and they believed in us. A guy named Michael Willesey and Marcia Miller and so on. They believe in us, and they are, and now this business is a third of our business. The energy and LED business is a third almost of our business because they believe in us. And so we are very happy for people who believe in what we are trying to do. At this time, I can't tell you what we have on the table and what is being executed now, but it is something else. Back to the funding. Funding is very, very hard, and this is why we decided that we're going to go public. Being a private person, it took me a long time, even when I made the decision based on the financial needs, because I saw that the company would have been today much more, I mean, would struggle a lot more. And so we decided to go and open myself. Being a private person, we did that, and we now are seeing where we have access to financing to drive the goals of the company going forward.
A lot of people are afraid of that kind of exposure, you know. It's opening yourself up for.
You know what changed it? You know what changed it for me? Also, look at the largest companies in the world. Look at the Googles, look at the Amazons, look at all these people. What they use equity financing. And so they are, look at Tesla, look at all of these. And I said to myself, but hold on, what am I afraid of? What do you want to do? Do you want to make a difference, or you want to just sit back and hold something close to your chest that might die soon? You understand? So that was one of the key things that changed my decision from just remaining a private company to become a public company. And I can tell you, I'm encouraging young people out there to think about making these decisions, not because you want to be, based on where you want to go in life. So if you want to go somewhere, there are avenues and there are roads and there are highways. So you just choose which of them you want to take you there.
And avenues only lead to more avenues usually. They don't usually lead to highways. So you went right, and some of them got to like some cul-de-sacs. Right. They don't really go anywhere.
My goodness.
I like that analogy. You have to get on the highway.
If you want to get
on with the lanes, the multiple lanes. It's scary. Yes. It's scary, but the potential for growth and expansion is worth it.
Yes, I tell you. I am always encouraged to encourage other young people out there, because I know, look, it was hard when I started, but you know what? I think it's harder now, you know, because we have some great team members, and I am always aware that I am responsible for their success in terms of this company must stay alive in order for them to keep living their dreams. And so I am always, it's almost like a big daddy kind of a.
The vision is bigger than you know.
Yes.
The vision and everything is bigger than you know.
And that is a challenge, because you have people who are part of your team who are lovely and wonderful, but the vision, they don't see it, and you have to find all kind of mechanism to pull them along with you. And to pull them along with you without destroying them, you know, to pull them along. And some of them take a longer time to turn and to come and to move. And for that reason, I am eternally grateful, because I'm a better person. I'm a lot more patient. I'm a mover. I will move and I will set my goals and go for it. I'm a little bit more patient, even though I'm still going for the goal, but I will be a little bit more tempered in my spirit in terms of trying to find ways to get the person to move, or to get the person to see, or to get the team member to just take on the responsibility. So it was hard then, but my goodness, I think it is just as hard now, or harder now, because you have
different level.
Yes, you have 130 something people, and they're all different people. They are all different people. I regard them as myself, my team members, who mean a whole lot to me. Some of them mean a lot more because they are right there next to me. But is not because the others don't mean, because I don't see them every day and so on. The ones who are in Montego Bay and in Mandeville and who drive on the road to do all these kind of business. I don't see them every day, but they mean a lot to me. And I respect every one of the team members who is a part of the team, you know?
And I can tell, I mean, on our first conversation, in that conversation called you a builder. And I didn't even know all of this. I didn't have the depth yet. But right away, I know that you are naturally inclined towards building people just on what the things that you said. So I believe you when you speak about how much you value your team and the level of investment that you have put in, and you constantly are seeking ways and means to grow and develop them. And yeah, I really respect that, because the African proverb says, if you want to go quickly, then you go alone.
Yes.
But if you want to go far, then you have to go together, right?
Yes,
So
right.
I see you're onto it. You know what you're doing.
Oh my goodness.
Can you share with us what it is you think you have learned? What has been the most significant learning for you so far on your entrepreneurial journey?
Oh my goodness. I think one of the significant things that I can take away from this journey so far is learn what I've learned about myself. I learn a lot almost every day about myself, and then I have to now look at the people who I interact with, who are on my team, and recognize that they are not the same as I am. They are wired differently. And so I learned to be in the middle of whatever situation. I sometimes go to the right because it's time to go to the right, or I go to the left, but you want to be as balanced as possible in the middle. And so that is a key thing that I've been learning about myself and about my team. And that is a struggle, because sometimes something just info comes to you and you go right, and you shouldn't have gone right. You should have just waited a little longer, be patient, a little more patient, and then make your decision. Or you should have gone left with it, be more conservative with it, but you didn't do it, and you feel like you want to beat up yourself because you should have waited a little bit more. Because your team as a leader depends on you, to be correct 100% of the time. I let them know that I am not a perfect beast. I am not, but they depend on you to be perfect and to make the right decision. Because even though they might not want to hear it, but deep down in their soul, they know that they need to hear it.
Okay. Do you feel more? I'm just listening to you, and I get two senses. I heard the entrepreneurial passion and the entrepreneurial persona in your story very strongly at the beginning, and now I'm hearing also almost like a paternal figure and a role that seems to be very just as dominant, or maybe just as strong now. Which one you feel more? Do you still feel like the entrepreneurial passion and that drive and direction is still what is pushing you the most now, fueling you now? Or is it that you feel like, I am the father of this thing, and I'm guiding it, or
It's a fantastic question. I think if I could summate it, it's a combination. It's a combination, because the passion and the drive is there. And also I know that I need to do it with people.
Yeah.
And so I can't do it alone. And so the paternal and the father and the caring and the whatever it is, and the grooming and the mentoring. No, with my experience, that must play a part in whatever I execute on a daily basis. And I tell you, that is where the learning is is still taking place. A lot of learning.
And something you also said about what your staff depending on you to be, you know, to make the decisions and almost be perfect all the time. I've always observed persons in leadership, and I've always thought it's so unfair or somewhat unfair that leaders aren't allowed to make mistakes. It would look, you know, they don't get to make mistakes like the rest of us.
No.
But I think it's important. There's an important lesson that leaders can help us to, or a part of life, a lesson in life that leaders can help us to learn and accept. And that is, when you make mistakes, it doesn't mean it's the end of the world. So I'd like to hear your take on that, as in, you are not perfect, no being is. And so, as you said, sometimes you will go right and you stay right too long. You should have moved over, left a little bit earlier or something.
Right.
When that happens, how do you deal with it?
Yes.
And not just for yourself also, but considering that you are a leader, how do you deal with it as a leader?
Yes, you're right. Very good way of putting it. I try to go back quickly to the foundation reason for me acting. I acted or did something because of what? What is the reason for it? Was it because I really want success for the person or success for the organization? And so if that is clear in my mind, which is almost all the time, is either success for the individual or for the organization. So I don't have a burden that I carry with me all the time. And so I leave it there. I said, I did it because the first thing you have to do is to be honest to yourself. Why did you do it? I do it because of this, and this is a good reason. And so every morning I get up, it's a fresh day. I forget what you have done. I can recall it, but it's not in my frontal lobe. I can recall it. And if I see you, it probably will come back to me. But it's not that I am holding a grudge against you and so on. I just want you to know that you should do better. And one of the phrases that I use all the time is that we must get better each day. And that is what I strive for with the team. And sometimes it's a little bit slower for individuals. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's something that you have to be patient with a little bit more. But you can't do so without keeping in mind that, look, there's a time limit. You can't be that way forever. Yeah. And an organization is changing from being a one-man band to an organization, to a corporation. We have to have individual persons taking their responsibilities and take the vision and execute the vision the way we want it to be executed, because we are the ultimate responsible person. And if that is not so, then we are going all over the place, and we are going to crash and burn one of these days.
Excellent response, demonstrating it in how you treated it, and also then grooming and coaching and managing with the same kind of principle. Appreciate that. Whilst you're coming up, did you have mentors of your own? How do you get support for yourself as a leader?
You know, that's a very good question. I grew up in an environment where I only had my mother as my role model. I mean, and my sisters and brothers were around me, and there were no male figures. I mean, to really groom me or so on. But I grew up through the church, and I can say the church has something to do with it, a great thing to do with it. But as we grew a little bit more and I became more entrepreneurial, I use mentors. I don't necessarily engage them as much as I could, but if I watch something, I am learning the true lesson and not going off on a kind of frivolous kind of a nice things and nice whatever. I'm looking below the subliminal and see exactly what the real reason for various actions and so on. And what I've done in the last number of years is to use for those who are listening, young people, I look at CNBC and Bloomberg, and I am always searching for interviews and sayings from these persons who have made it up there. And to be frank, where I've had some encounters with some real good persons in Jamaica who mentor me. One of them is Douglas Orain. He's really, I'm impressed by him, and the things that he always say to me have always helped me. And I think even Dennis Layla, I worked with him on some things before, and he has always been an encourager. A number of other persons. These persons, I have said that I would use their names, so I have license to call their names. But I didn't have a lot of persons who sat me down and mentor me. There's another guy who really I learned a lot from him. His name is Genford Millen. I learned a lot from him, and on the financial side, and so on. But I tried to look to educate myself as to how people achieve a higher level of success than what I see around me. And so that's mainly what I use to mentor myself.
Okay. What do you think is the most important trait or principle to have as an entrepreneur to be successful?
I think among the traits that you need to have is value people, because no product, I can't tell you of any product that you sell or offer or make that is not for the use, some industry that people benefit from, or direct to some people who will use your product. So if you value people, then you know that whatever you're putting out there should be of the highest standard. And along with what you're putting out there is your service, is your character, is your fairness, is your honesty, and so on. And so if you are not going to come from an honest point of view, you're not going to succeed, young people out there. And please value service, value people more than money. When you value service to people more than money, your service level will always be higher than you would want. You could think that you could be. And then what will happen? The money will come, because everybody wants to feel like they are worth something. They are of worth, and they are big, and they're person walk into your store. It doesn't matter how unkempt the person might look. Treat that person as that person is the Governor General of Jamaica. And then you're gonna see how people respond to you. Always look for that.
Oh, very solid, very sound, and timeless. Timeless, always time relevant advice. That bit there, Mr. Foster. I'm looking at the chat, and we're just at the time to wrap up our conversation. I told you the hour would fly off quickly. I don't see any questions being posed for you. I think people are really enjoying the chat based on some of the comments I've seen here. I'm just saying this in case anybody's thinking of asking a question, to do so now or forever hold your peace. I'll give you the opportunity, Mr. Foster, to make, I don't know if you can top and say anything other than what you, beyond what you just said, because that was really profound. Considering the times that we're having now, I don't know if the pandemic and what has happened in terms, what is happening in terms of the economy, if that has affected your business based on the industry that you're in. But what would you say to people in business now who are really having a hard time and perhaps thinking that, boy, they're at the end of the rope type of thing?
Yeah, it is clear that some industries will go away. Some industries will struggle. You have the airline industries and the travel industries and so on. So it's just some industries you have the restaurant or they call it now, the fun industry. Some of them will lose a lot in this time. It's a tough thing. I don't know if some people can pivot. Some people can find ways of being creative in trying to get the interaction with their customers wherever they are. We are pretty happy that our industry has not been so affected as other industries, but we still see that there is likely to be a tightening as we go along into next year and so on. I'm just encouraging them to find ways of using the platform that we have here, if your product and service and so on can be offered on these platforms, because we would not possibly be talking if we were not, Ms. Walters, if we were not in this kind of a pandemic. We see opportunities, however, in this pandemic. We see opportunities for a lot of digital interactions and businesses to go digital, because look, when this is all over, if it is all over soon, most of the kids, look at the amount of kids in Jamaica. You have about 36 or 70,000 people, kids, I think, go to school. Sorry, 36,000 will do exams. So you probably have 5 times that going to school. They're all going to be using digital platform in school. What do you think is going to happen as they become graduates and so on? They're not going to leave the gadgets. They're not going to leave computer or digital world. So you have to think how you can start to reach that group of people digitally from now. And you also can look, the teachers, there might be 10,000 teachers or 12,000 teachers, they too are going to be using this kind of technology. Then businesses, so many persons are working from home. So think about where your customers are and see how you can reach them. You might have to shrink your business a little bit. And that means people will be out of a job, but you probably have to do so in order to preserve your business so you can come again as you reboot and you challenge yourself to get better each time. It is a tough time, and this is when great managers and leaders come forth. If you are going to be focusing on the negatives, then you're not going to see the positives.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Mr. Foster. This conversation has been so good. It's almost like I don't want to wrap up, but I know you're a busy man, and this time that you have given us is very valuable. We appreciate it and thanking you so much. You have really given us an inspiring bit of conversation this afternoon. You have shown us from your, what you have shared about your journey, that a person has to believe in themselves, because if you don't believe in yourself, then you won't make the moves that you need to make in order to take the kind of risk that you have described you've taken. I mean, not a lot of people would do that. What you left your job in the middle of an economic crisis to start selling things, right?
Oh, goodness.
Right. So we are seeing lessons there that it's sometimes really just about a person's character and person's conviction. We're also seeing some lessons in terms of the kind of ethics that guide and help to support success when a person decides to pursue entrepreneurship, such as consistently being a learner. You're always learning, looking for things to inform and grow yourself. In terms of being a servant leader, that has come up, that is your approach to leadership, is being in service. You're a people builder, you're a nation builder, as well as a company builder. And we also have taken some lessons in terms of, really allowing the experience of life to teach us and make us into the kind of people that are worthy of the respect and the admiration that I'm seeing some persons here are expressing on the chat. Somebody saying a very humble person and a dream mentor. And I just want to say thank you again for sharing with us this afternoon. Really appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to having further engagement with you as we work on the Export Max 3 project over the next 2 years or so.
Yes,
And
yes.
seeing where, you know, the things, the plans and the vision that is yours takes you in the next 25 years. Yes?
Yeah, I think so.
Very proud of the work and the growth that you've done, Mr. Foster. Congratulations to you and your team for making it this far and where you have reached so far. And
Thank you.
wishing you all
Thank you
the
for
best.
having us. Thank you for having me. And thank you to my team. They are the ones who caused me to be here today. So thank you very much, team. And thank you very much, Ms. Walters.
Enough respect, man. Thanks. Enjoy the weekend and we talk soon.
Okay, yes, no
All
problem
right.
at all. Cool, cool.